All right, there's no transitioning from that. But again, we've got odds, Shane, for the SEC championship via Caesars Sportsbook. And again, this is, in the state of Tennessee, many others across the country. These are legal betting odds. This ain't some overseas where you got to pay with electronic Bitcoin and all this junk. These are legitimate odds you can jump on right now. And there's a couple of these, Shane, that, our audience should jump on immediately. So let's start at the bottom of the list, kind of build some anticipation, Shane. No surprise, Vanderbilt is at the bottom. 1,000-1 odds to win the SEC for the Vanderbilt Commodores. That feels about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like I don't even want to waste $1 on that one, Mike. I hate it, but that seems like like they should be a little higher. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe 10,000-1.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Vanderbilt.
100,000. I mean, come on. I mean, let's be realist here. Is this like the max that they'll go, or I'm not trying to bash Vandy, but we're talking about winning a national championship. It's going to take an absolute miracle for them to win an SEC game this year.
Right. No, these are SEC championship, not national championship odds.
Oh, national. Okay, SEC. Okay. Well, still, I mean,
yeah.
Right.
You basically, if you win the SEC, you're winning the national championship. We know that by now.
Yeah.
But now, next on the list, Shane, we're splitting it in half here. 500-1. Who do you think that is?
500-1, South Carolina.
Close, but Missouri, 500-1. So you got twice as good odds as Vanderbilt. That's one way to look at it.
Oh, I like that, man. That's a sneaky one, just because of the scheduling. I like it. It's an East opponent. You're thinking about somebody still in an SEC championship. So that one's very intriguing to me.
Now, you already hit on this team, Shane. South Carolina, next on the list, 150-1 to win the SEC. And that's one I think you got to at least put a couple bucks on here with all the transfers they've added. If they hit the lottery here with Spencer Rattler, I don't know. I'm not saying South Carolina's going to win the SEC. Let's not go crazy, but I think it's worth betting a little bit on.
Yeah, I'd put 100 on that one. I mean, like you said, because if the hype is real, then this is a real East contender, So yeah, I like this bet. I think that's where your best odds are coming from. You're going to put some money on it. So yeah, I like that at South Carolina. Put some money on that one. I may put some money on that one today.
Now these two I know you're going to love, Shane. Let's start with Mississippi State. What do you think the odds are for that one?
Mississippi State 75-1.
See, that's probably what it should be, but it's 100-1.
Ooh,
Mississippi State again. They caught fire towards the end of the season. They put up a dud in the Egg Bowl. They put up a dud in the bowl game. So I think that's why national media types are saying, well, let's pump the brakes on Mississippi State. But Will Rogers was he looking good towards the end of the season. If they continue that momentum, Mississippi State's offense is going to be a problem for the entire SEC. And Zach Arnett, he does a great job with that defense. So 100-1 Mississippi State. I like the value in that one as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people sleeping on Mississippi State this year. I've said it several times. This is one of those teams I expect to hit the ground running, and I like those odds.
Now, there's one other SEC team, Shane, with 100-1 odds to win the SEC, and I give you a little bit of hint. This one will break your heart.
Tennessee.
What are they doing down here 100-1, Shane? I mean, we're talking a team full of hype. They're probably gonna be voted third in the SEC, maybe second in the SEC. A lot of value in them Vols right there at 100-1, don't you think?
Yeah, don't go send in that mortgage payment just yet, okay? I mean, come on now. Let me make you some money here. Put it on that big orange Vols. This is one of those clearly is going to get bet down, Mike.
Yeah, I think so too. With that offense, with everything they're bringing back, Hendon Hooker, dark horse Heisman candidate here.
Well, it's just the East has so many question marks right now. There is hype. There's hype in Kentucky. There's hype in South Carolina. Mizzou's been under the radar a little bit, but they're picking up steam. You got Georgia Bulldogs. That's the team. So if you can get over Georgia, then maybe a miracle happens and you win an SEC championship. So, I think a team like Tennessee that has no problem putting points on the board is a team that I like to put money on.
Mm-hmm. Now, next on the list, Shane, 75-1. I'll give you a hint. Another SEC East team. Who do you think it is?
75-1. Kentucky.
You almost had it. I think I felt it.
I think about
Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
I think Vegas loves Florida more than they do Kentucky, and I don't think they should, but that's why I was going that way. Not what I would put them, but yeah, go ahead. 75-1.
I think that's going to surprise a lot of people, Shane. That Billy Napier, year one. Not the fact that they've got some talent down there, but putting them ahead of Tennessee, I think. I know it's impossible for you to take off your biased hat there, but that's a little bit of a surprise to me. How about you?
Yeah. Who's their? Obviously they got LSU, but who's their other East opponent or West opponent?
This year it's Texas A&M, and that's at Texas A&M.
Yeah, because when you bounce back and forth from Florida and Kentucky. It's maybe it's a scheduling thing. Is the only thing I can guess. I just think Florida. The problem with them is, how quick do they get out of the gate? But if they do, man, if this team catches fire and they play true to their talent, who knows? They may be the team that surprises everybody.
Now, how about this one, Shane? 50-1. They're the only team in the SEC West. And I love this team. I got them as one of the best three in the SEC.
LSU?
Arkansas Razorbacks.
Oh.
The disrespect there, 50-1.
I was going to say. I was expecting them a little bit higher on this list just because we have gone through the scheduling and you convinced me that one loss they're still going to win it all. So I'm kind of, I don't know, man. Maybe I switch a little bit of that money from Florida and put it here on Arkansas because I think they're the big team. They're the one that I've got a little asterisk by, and if the stars are aligned, I could definitely see them playing in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Now we've got three teams here, Shane, all listed at 40-1. LSU, Auburn, which that's a head scratcher, and the Kentucky Wildcats. So I think the biggest stunner there has got to be Auburn, 40-1 to win the SEC. Don't you think?
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I was like, all that bashing I've done for Auburn, I was like, maybe Vegas knows something I don't. Hey, maybe that's good because every time I say anything bad about Auburn Tigers, we get 15 replies thanking us for putting them down because they're probably going to have an SEC championship run. So Auburn's always been one of those programs. Just as soon as you count them out, they're back in. So maybe that's what they're relying on, just to bounce back.
Right. And LSU at 40-1. It makes some sense. They do got a ton of talent. They've raided the transfer portal. They've got a championship caliber coach now. I know he hasn't won a national championship at college football's highest level, but he's won them at the lower levels. He's made Notre Dame relevant again. So 40-1. I wouldn't bet on LSU, but I think that makes a ton of sense. Whereas Kentucky 40-1, that also makes some sense because you don't. Hell, Kentucky wiped the floor with LSU last year, but you don't think of Kentucky as having the talent of LSU, but what they do have is consistency, outstanding coaching. They've got many players back, so there's a lot quarterback who, hell, as soon as we put out the podcast, Shane, that Will Levis getting some buzz for first round, there was someone, I think it was Pro Football Focus, put Will Levis in their round one mock for the next draft. So that I thought that was pretty interesting. A lot of buzz around Will Levis, basically, is the point.
Wouldn't you like that, man? Every team wants that. Their quarterback getting first round buzz starting the season. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I like out of those three. If I was putting money on any of the teams, it's definitely Kentucky there.
Now we've got two other teams out of the SEC West, Shane, 20-1. Ole Miss. Texas A&M. Kind of surprised to see Ole Miss in the same class as A&M on the odds like this, but hell, how can you debate it? Lane Kiffin just won 10 games. I know they've lost a lot of talent. They lost a lot of coaches, but they're another one that's rated the transfer portal, and just Texas A&M loaded across the board with talent. So 20-1, I'm buying both of those.
Yeah, 20-1. Now, Ole Miss is a fun pick there. Obviously, I'm not as high as a lot of people on Ole Miss, but you talk about situational coaching. That's what Kiffin offers, and sometimes he's going to catch some of these teams off guard. And if you do it right, man, next thing you know, you're dancing in Atlanta. So yeah, out of those two though, I'm leaning a little more toward Texas A&M. I don't know about you, Mike.
Yeah, I think so. And just until we know what we're getting at Ole Miss, because they're like a complete wild card this year. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, no surprise at the top of the list, Shane. Georgia, second best odds. They're plus 110. And then Alabama is a heavy favorite, minus 140, which means you have to bet $140 to get back 100. So, that's basically what we've been echoing. That's what everybody's been echoing. Alabama, the heavy favorite to win the league. Georgia, the heavy favorite to win the East. But let me ask you this real quick, Shane, because this is something I touched on during the draft recap. Georgia just set the record, 15 draft picks in the NFL draft. I know Georgia's still going to be loaded. I know they're going to be picked to win the East by most people. But that's got to give you some hesitation, don't you think? They put so much talent in the NFL. That cracks the door open for the rest of the SEC East, I would have to think.
Absolutely. I think about those heavy years that Alabama put loaded roster into the league. It felt like there was some moments and some games like this year as a prime example. And then you look at the LSU, which previously had the record at 13, something like that. I mean, look how quickly they fell off after a draft class. So it's easier said than done. That old saying, we don't rebuild, we just reload. But, you're to reload 14 NFL talent players on your roster, that is not easy to do, and it's not off. It's never been done before. So, that would definitely give me some pause. But you got to remember, every year Georgia's right there at the top with the recruiting classes. So maybe they're a little closer to that reloading than most teams. But that's definitely that definitely gives me pause if I'm looking at betting on one of these teams. Out of both of them, I'm definitely going to probably move toward Alabama there. But I'm not confident in either one of those picks.
Mm-hmm.